Hello, I'm State Representative Karen Boback of the 117th Legislative District in Columbia, Luzerne, and Wyoming counties. As an advocate for protecting seniors, I've devoted a tremendous amount of time to combating elder abuse. The term elder abuse is not limited to physical or mental abuse. More commonly, it involves financial exploitation. My colleague, Representative Phyllis Munday, and I co-founded a local elder abuse task force that seeks to improve the prosecution of these crimes and educate the public about predatory scams. We recently co-hosted a forum at Misericordia University featuring Attorney General Kathleen Kane and Auditor General Eugene D. Pasquale. They each explained how their offices work to protect seniors and gave tips for spotting a scam before you become a victim. Following the forum, we traveled to the Dallas Senior Center to share some of that information with its members. I'd like to share portions of both events with you now.
Good morning. I'm State Representative Karen Boback of the 117th Legislative District, and that includes portions of Luzerne, Wyoming, and Columbia counties. Thank you all for joining us today as we raise awareness about the dangers of elder abuse and the fraudulent practices that are deceiving senior citizens in our communities. Before we begin today's event, I'd like to take a moment to thank my colleague, Representative Phyllis Munday. Thank you, Phyllis, for all your efforts. When we initially discussed having a news conference and bringing together two of our state's top watchdogs here to Luzerne County, we knew that we could raise more awareness of the dangers and what we can do to protect our community's fine citizens. I'd also like to thank the Luzerne County Elder Abuse Task Force for their work in protecting seniors. Thank you, Misericordia University, for always being a fantastic partner in our community's endeavors, and all of our local senior citizen groups and their members for joining us today. And I would like to mention, very proudly so, that it was Representative Phyllis Munday and myself who founded the Elder Abuse Task Force right here on the university campus. So thank you, Dr. Boatsman, very much for lending this wonderful university and your support. Foremost, thank you, Attorney General Kane and Auditor General Eugene D. Pasquale, for doing your part on a state level to protect our seniors and prosecute those who seek to do them harm. We will hear more from them in a few minutes, but I want to preface the conversation today with the reason why we are here. One aspect of life that older people may face is elder abuse. Most people think elder abuse involves physical abuse, but that's not all. Elder abuse can involve financial exploitation, neglect, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, or other mistreatment. Elder abuse and neglect can occur at any time, at any economic level, among all races and among all nationalities. With Pennsylvania having one of the highest populations of senior citizens nationwide, elder abuse is a problem that cannot be ignored. A large majority of elder abuse cases are not reported to police, nor are they prosecuted. When they are reported, officials report that so much time has passed that most of the time it makes it harder to successfully prosecute the case, and even more devastating, to get any financial money back. Well, I have the distinct honor to introduce to you today our Attorney General, Kathleen Kane. Kathleen Granahan Kane was born and raised in northeastern Pennsylvania. In fact, she's a neighbor. She attended elementary school and high school in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and earned a bachelor's degree from the University of Scranton. Kane went to Philadelphia to attend Temple Law School and remained in the city to work at the firm of Post and Shell, handling civil cases. In 1995, Kane moved back to Scranton to accept a position as Assistant District Attorney of Lackawanna County. It was in this role that she established herself as a force to be reckoned with in the courtroom, prosecuting more than 3,000 cases related to child sexual assault, elder abuse, and public corruption. Recognized for her distinguished service, she was selected to head up Lackawanna County's first Insurance Fraud Task Force. In addition, she contributed to pioneering law enforcement programs aimed at improving local communities. She became the first woman to be elected Pennsylvania Attorney General, and she's accomplished a great deal in her first 100 days and is quickly gaining a national reputation for bold and courageous leadership. She has closed the Florida loophole, and I'm sure you have read that, which allowed some people to obtain a concealed carry permit despite having been denied one in Pennsylvania. She launched initiatives to protect Pennsylvania senior citizens from scammers and others who would do them harm. And that's why we are so privileged to have her here today. Kathleen lives with her husband, Chris, and her two sons, Christopher and Zach. Without further ado, Attorney General Kathleen Kane.
Thank you. Good morning. First, let me commend the task force and all of you that are here from all of the different agencies. It is of vital importance that we all work together in combating senior abuse, whether it's financial, physical, or neglect. I feel like this is a very large manufacturing machine when we're out there protecting senior citizens. We all have a role, we all have a wheel, and all of those wheels need to work and to grind together. And that way we produce a product that protects people better than anyone else. We are the 5th largest state in this nation. We are the leaders when it comes to certain things. I want us to be the leaders in protecting our senior population, our older Pennsylvanians. We have the 2nd largest senior population in the entire country, second only to Florida. That means that we have the utmost responsibility to do our very, very best to protect our people, not just our senior citizens, not our older Pennsylvanians, not a particular label, but our citizens, our people. Now, I know that senior citizens feel that they're embarrassed when we talk about neglect or abuse or financial scams. They're embarrassed because they believe that when we talk about it, we feel that they can no longer take care of themselves. And I want them to know that couldn't be further from the truth. Could not be further from the truth. The reason that we make sure that our senior population and our older Pennsylvanians know about these scams is because you are the largest concentration of citizens in this Commonwealth. And because of that, and because that you have earned your money and saved it and protected it all these years, you become more of a target because you have an amassed wealth. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're older. It just means that you have more money. You have a better credit rating. You become a target because you have been responsible, hardworking citizens your entire lives. So please dispel that myth that it is because we feel that you can't take care of yourselves. We don't feel that at all. We want to make sure that you hold on to that money that you so rightly earned. And because of that, this task force is of the utmost importance. I really commend Representative Boback and Representative Mundy. They put politics aside. Politics has no place when it comes to taking care of our citizens, and that is exactly what they did. They formed a friendship, they formed a unity, and they have a common goal in making sure that we all work together, we have the best information, the best resources, and the best training to do our jobs. So thank you very much in doing everything that you've done. The Office of Attorney General, I believe, plays an important role in this process, in that we have statewide jurisdiction, and we cover 67 counties. So we need to make sure that everyone has the same information and the best resources that they can. On the local level, DAs like DA Salavantis and everyone else prosecutes these crimes. They have original jurisdiction over these crimes, and they do the best job that they can. They make sure that these people go to jail. We have to have the resources and the training and the manpower necessary in our lawyers and our prosecutors to make sure that when our agents and our troopers and our local police officers go out there and make an arrest, we have to make sure that it gets to the courtroom and then they go to jail. So we need to support everyone involved in this process, especially the local DAs. So where the AG fits in this process is that I believe that we can be a great training ground, and we can be a great resource for information, and we can be a great resource for information to our senior citizens. When I was an ADA, I was on the Elder Abuse Task Force, and I just loved it. I loved working with the senior citizens. I'd go to senior centers, I'd go to senior homes if we had information that they were being scammed, and sit with them and talk to them about how they can better protect themselves. Because it's not just our job to make sure that the criminals go to jail. It's our job to make sure that our senior citizens don't lose their money. Because like our representative told you, 9 times out of 10, we can't get that money back for them. It's gone. We want to make sure they hang on to it and they need it for what they use it for what they need. So in order to do that, we need education and we need prevention. And the reason we're gathered here today is because the more we bring to light the problem of senior abuse and scams and neglect and financial abuse, the more someone thinks to themselves, could that be me? How do I prevent this? And if I do think it's me, where do I go for help? So you get something in the mail, you get a telephone call, you get an email that says, you've won the sweepstakes. In order for you to collect your winnings, or the lottery, in order for you to collect your winnings, you need to give us certain financial information. And when you give us that, we will send you a check, and then in the meantime, you need to send us a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 for a processing fee. There is no such thing. No such thing. Don't fall for it. Never give your financial information out, whether it's Medicare, identification number, your driver's license, your social security number, your bank information, your credit card numbers. Don't ever give that information out. No one needs it. If your bank needs it, then you call them. You ask for so-and-so at the bank and make sure that they get on. If someone calls you, that's your first sign. So make sure that you don't fall prey to that. There's no such thing as you won the sweepstakes or the lottery and now you need to send us that information. The second one is, it's called the grandparent scam. It's amazing. And it doesn't just hit seniors, by the way. It hits everybody. I actually got an email from a friend of mine saying she was in some foreign land. Just so happens she travels a tremendous amount of time, and she's always in a foreign land, that she was arrested and she needed money. Well, thankfully, I know she's, a pretty good person, and she probably wasn't going to be arrested. But the grandparent scam is out there, and that is where either your grandson or granddaughter, someone purporting to be this person, calls you or emails you and says they are on vacation, they have either been arrested, they've been in a car accident, or they have a medical problem, and you need to send them money. But please, don't call their parents because they don't want to get in trouble, they don't want to alarm their parents. Number one signal is that they are calling you. Number two, they don't want you to tell anybody. And number three, they want you to send them money through some sort of a wire transfer. All three are indications that this is a scam. Don't fall for it. Call their parents. If their voice doesn't sound like them and they say, well, it's because it's noisy in the background or they're in a foreign land, they have a bad connection, that is another sign. Trust your gut. Trust your instincts. If something seems funny to you, it is. Don't fall for it. So we want to make sure that you use all the common sense techniques that you've had your entire lives. Don't mistrust them now. They are just as strong and just as powerful as they were however many years ago. Trust your instincts. And do not be afraid to be rude. 9 times out of 10, our older Pennsylvanians do not want to be rude. And I love that civility. Trust me, I do. I think we need more civility in our society. But don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't be afraid to hang up. Don't be afraid to say, don't ever call me back again. Don't be afraid. Trust your instincts and don't be afraid. And if you do find something like this, or if you have given money, then you need to know where to go. You could go to your local agency on aging, you could report it to your senior center, you could call your local police, you could call the state police, or you could call the district attorney's office in your county. We have all these nice brochures that when we go to the senior center later on today, we'll be giving them out. They're full with great information. We're redoing all of our websites and we're making sure that we serve you best. You are our most precious commodity. You are our history, you are our future, and we care about you very much. We want to make sure that we can do everything possible to help you. So any suggestions that you have, please give them to us as well. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for inviting me.
As Auditor General, our role is very specific, and that is any program that is designed to protect seniors at the state level, or if there's any single dime of state or federal dollars that flow through the state, we get to conduct an audit to make sure that those programs are working right. And so whether it's a county program or even a private nursing home that gets Medicaid dollars, in the late 90s, then Auditor General, now Senator Casey, conducted nursing home audits across the state and found wide abuse of our seniors. And that helped lead to dramatic changes in how our nursing home laws work in Pennsylvania today. But what I want you to know is that if you know of a senior that is in a nursing home where that type of treatment is going on, to immediately contact our office. Because one of the advantages that we have in not being on the criminal side is that we don't need, if you get a dime of tax dollars, I can send my auditors out there in an instant to begin looking into the books, to begin doing program inspections of nursing home hour ratios, the whole gambit of what the law says is supposed to be done to protect our seniors. And we can do that in an instant. If there's at the county level a program, and we've talked to some folks here earlier today about some of the programs that exist that people fear aren't working the way they are supposed to work, we immediately can conduct a performance audit of those programs to find out what is working and what isn't working. And my role as Auditor General, it's not just to crack down on the abuse there, but like Kathleen said, and Karen said it earlier, an ounce of prevention, pound of cure. Not only do we want to go in and find the wrongdoing and get it appropriately punished, and if we go in and do an audit and find potential criminal activity, we turn it over to Kathleen's office so that the appropriate people can be held to the fullest extent of the law. But it's also to outline steps that we can prevent it from happening in the future. All of us are very fearful that the statistics that we have on abuse of our seniors is actually dramatically less than what the real number is. Because so many times these crimes are not reported. And think of it this way. Somebody has a relative taking care of them at home, and I know with 2 young kids, we pay attention to these statistics a lot, that something happens to a child, more often than not, it's somebody who's a relative that commits that act to the child, because that's how they get, our kids are drilled now. It's a senior, get away, or, call, or, text, whatever, if the kid has that. But if they know the relative, they're more likely to get in the car. We get it. We understand it. We wish it didn't happen. Well, the same thing happens with seniors. If you have somebody who's helping you get the groceries as a family member or a friend, sometimes seniors don't want to call the authorities on them because, yes, if that person is punished, then they may go away or they may pay a big fine. But then the concern is, who's going to protect me after that happens? So a lot of times they'll keep it bottled up inside and let the abuse go on. And so we have to work here together collaboratively, whether it be law enforcement auditing, law side in Harrisburg, or just simply working together as a community to make sure that senior knows that once they report that and that person is put away as they should, there's going to be support there for that individual, that they don't have to be afraid to report the crime or the abuse. Now we have, there's 2 numbers I want to give you here. One is, it's not my department, but I think it's important that the Department of Aging in Harrisburg has an important role with this, and Aging has an elder abuse hotline, and that number is 800-490-8505. And we have a hotline at the Auditor General's Department, and that number is 800-922-8477. And similar to the Attorney General, we have our own Facebook page, which you can search under, if you're on Facebook, PA Auditor General, and also on Twitter, if you're on Twitter, and sometimes I wish I wasn't. But it's PA Auditor Gen is our Twitter handle. And we're doing our part to try to get out as much information as free to the community as well. It's incumbent upon all of us to work together. Local law enforcement, the DAs that are here today, local county officials, community activists, state and county officials working together so that we can stamp out this, because if there's one thing we should all be able to agree on, that our seniors have deserved the retirement that they have earned, and they deserve not only our respect and gratitude because for the freedoms that many of them have helped provide for us, but they have helped build this country, and the least we can do is make sure that they are protected in those retirement years so they can enjoy what they have rightfully earned. So again, thank you to Phyllis and Karen for putting this together. Thank you to Kathleen for her tremendous work as the Attorney General of Pennsylvania, and I am honored to be a part of this panel today and look forward to working in partnership with all of you moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane, for coming up this morning to Misericordia University to discuss the auditing practice and how you come into play when we have these fraudulent practices happening to our elders.
Well, first of all, Karen, thanks for having myself and Attorney General Kathleen Kane up here this morning. Our role really is to make sure that we're protecting our seniors. And the Elder Abuse Task Force that yourself and Representative Mundy have put together really is a critical component of that. I actually hope that this gets really taken foothold in other areas across the state. My role as Auditor General, anytime there's a dime of state tax dollars spent, we get to go in and do an audit of that money to make sure that it's being spent appropriately. So the programs that are out there designed to protect our seniors, my role is to make sure that those programs are operating efficiently and effectively, to make sure that the programs that are designed to protect our seniors are doing exactly that.
And you're doing a great job as our Auditor General, and I thank you for that, Eugene. And it's a wonderful media event today. I'm very thrilled about how many people have come out, local television stations, newspapers, because we need to get the word out. So many times a senior will say to me, well, I didn't know. Try as we might with newsletters, with press releases, with letters to the editor, there are still those who are just not aware of fraudulent practices. So that's our goal, to make people more aware of what they can encounter. And God forbid, we don't want them to fall for some of these scams.
Absolutely.
They're awful.
Absolutely, and we see from the statistics that usually it's people that know the senior that are more likely to do something fraudulent to them because they maybe have access to bank records or even, ID numbers, what have you. So the only way that we're going to really win this battle is through efforts like what you're putting together here today, which is really collaborative, having local officials, state, even federal if necessary at times, and working a collaborative way to get this message out, because in today's world, with all the different media sources, it's very hard to get information to people so that they get everything they need. So it's really going to take a full court press, so to speak, to get that done.
Absolutely. And I do have to say, from my vantage point, it seems to be getting better. Now my office receives more phone calls asking, do you think this is a scam? Or I got this phone call and they want my social security number. Should I give it? And of course, no, that's something you never give out. Never, never, never. So at least now they know that there are venues for them to call and ask before they actually give out this pertinent information.
I'm sure Attorney General Kane will talk about this. When you find out a crime is committed, yes, you can go after that person, lock them away, but sometimes that money is gone. That's right. And so the best way to make it better is to prevent it from happening in the first place. Yes, we can punish the people that do these horrible acts to our seniors, but sometimes you still can't fix it because the money may be depleted and you may not get it back. And one of the things we talk about is, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more today, is that seniors that have money put aside for their retirement, when they get scammed out of it, it ends up being a taxpayer issue as well, because sometimes then they have to go on, Medicare or Medicaid, and really live a life that is much different than they had saved for throughout their entire working years. So it's an impact to all taxpayers as well. So if someone is watching this thinking, oh, that doesn't impact me, yes, if a senior scammed out of money, we're going to have programs that take care of that senior, because nobody wants anyone without that care. But it's going to impact everybody if we really allow those resources to be stolen from seniors.
And that's an excellent point, Eugene, an excellent point. So the bottom line for the message that I'd like to at least evoke today is an ounce of prevention is a pound of cure. And hopefully this program is going to be another step to making our seniors more aware of what they should and should not do.
Absolutely. What our grandparents told us when we were little kids about that, a penny of prevention is worth a pound of cure, still holds true today.
And if something is too good to be true,
It probably is.
that's right. Thank you so much for being with
Hey,
me
thanks,
today,
Karen.
Eugene.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you, Admiral Kathleen Kane, for coming to northeastern Pennsylvania, specifically Luzerne County today with your presentation. And as you know, I represent parts of Luzerne, Wyoming, and Columbia counties, so we had representation from a large part of northeastern PA. Thank you for being here and spreading your message. And if you had to leave 2 or 3 key points for our seniors in regard to protecting them from scams, what would they be?
I want them to know that they shouldn't be ashamed of reporting a scam. Everybody gets scammed. It has nothing to do with their age, and when they report a scam, they are not just protecting themselves, they are protecting hundreds and maybe thousands of other people, their neighbors, their friends, their family, and it's their duty and I think their responsibility to report those. That's number one. Number two is that there's help out there. There are plenty of agencies and there are a lot of people who really care about them. We will make sure that that person is prosecuted. We'll try to get their money back, but that usually isn't successful. But we'll make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else, and I think that's an excellent message to bring back. And the third thing is education, education, education. The more education we have, the better we are at preventing scams like this. We don't want people to become victims. It's not good enough for us that they become a victim of a crime or we throw somebody in jail. We want to make sure this Commonwealth has no victims. We do that by education, we do that by outreach, we do that by making sure that all of these centers and the elderly population work together and knowing what the latest and greatest scams are and how to prevent them, and most importantly as well, where to go for help. So we want them to know we care, we want them to get involved, we want them to report it, but we want them to be educated.
Well, that's excellent, and truly, we have so much faith in you that you will execute what we've spoken about today. But there was one part that you mentioned, and I think it bears repeating. You mentioned that it doesn't mean because you happen to be over 55, over 60, that you're the target. And yet, we know that our seniors are targets.
That's right.
Will you tell us again why?
Sure. Most times senior citizens feel that they're embarrassed because they feel that because of their age they've been scammed and that society looks upon them as not being able to take care of themselves in that regard. And that is not true. The senior population is the largest portion of our population here in Pennsylvania, second largest in the entire country. So the seniors have the most money. They have amassed the most wealth. Criminals go where the money is. Our seniors have worked hard their entire lives. They have saved their money. They own their own homes. They have annuities and pensions. And that's what makes them more of a prey, not their age, but because they have amassed the most wealth, and because they are the largest portion of our population. So we want them to know, do not be embarrassed. It has nothing to do with your age. No one looks down on you. It is just because you have worked so hard.
Well, at least today, we did so much. We accomplished so much with this media event. But if there was one message I would like to say, it would be northeastern Pennsylvania cares about our senior citizens. And you coming up with the Auditor General DePasquale, we thank you so much. And do you have any closing remarks for our seniors? Again, prevention is the cure, and I think we did alert with a lot of scams, but perhaps giving the number again so that if anybody suspects that they are being scammed, they can call your hotline.
Yes, they can call the Attorney General's senior hotline. It is 1-866-623-2137. That's 1-866-623-2137. And I want to thank you very much for your leadership and all that you do for seniors here. As you know, I'm from the Northeast, and our senior population is very near and dear to me here as well as across Pennsylvania.
Thank you for coming to Dallas, Pennsylvania, and showing your support not only of northeastern Pennsylvania, but of the entire Commonwealth. You are appreciated, Attorney General Kane. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for today's program. I'm State Representative Karen Boback. If I can assist you with any state matter, feel free to contact me at my local office or through my website. That information will be shown in a moment. Thanks for watching, and please join me the next time for Legislative Report.